All right, we're back at it again. Before we talk about the fashion stuff, I know I'm like low key, like 4 days past it, but still, the Luka Doncic trade is fucking insane. Can you imagine that? I literally still remember on Saturday when I was on my phone and I saw the fucking news. I could not believe it. I could not believe it. Can you believe it? That now he's a freaking Laker? Like, what? Honestly, though, anytime something like crazy happens, even if it's not like, I'm not gonna say like tragedy because tragedy is not funny, but whenever something crazy like this happens, you always get the funniest stuff from Twitter. Like, I don't know, maybe I'll do another video just talking about the funniest tweets from this situation because truly, you see some people's comedic muscles come out whenever something happens. Because oh my gosh. Anyway, though. uh, Here to talk about fashion. So today we are reviewing the Saint Laurent Men's Winter 2025 collection. So, as you know, the creative director is Anthony Vessarello. And usually, I think now, I did this in a previous video, but now I'm definitely going to start out by reading the descriptions instead of just jumping into reviewing the collection. So, now, sorry, it sounded gross. But here we have the description. A productive tension. Ooh, productive tension. What do you think that means? What do you think that means? Between temperamental opposites has been a hallmark of Saint Laurent since the house's founding by a pair of distinct personalities. Interesting. Also, this is another thing. If you don't know, which I'm sure you do, Saint Laurent is actually Yves Saint Laurent. I'm pretty sure we all know Yves Saint Laurent was a real person who obviously has now been dead for many years now. But if you don't know, Heidi what the fuck? I literally cannot say his name properly. Like, do you see the search tab that I have open? I cannot say his name properly. Like, genuinely, like I'm trying so hard and I can't just. Honestly, I was thinking about editing this out, but I think I'll keep it in just for authenticity because I can never say his name properly.
Eddie Sliman.
Hedi Slimane. So anyway, he used to be a creative director of YSL like many years ago, and he's credited for introducing a new wave of men's fashion, particularly when it comes to a slimmer look, like slimmer suits. He now, I believe, is a creative director of Celine, or he either used to be. I have my own opinions on his tenure, whether it is over or is continuing at Celine. But again, this is about Saint Laurent. But the reason I mention Heidi is because he was actually the one who had the authority to remove Yves from Saint Laurent. So now, again, it's still Yves Saint Laurent. Like, people are still going to call it YSL Yves Saint Laurent. But I just find that very almost like, I don't know, like not necessarily morbid, but just a little odd that you're allowed to do that. And again, Heidi, he was the creative director for, I believe, almost everything. But I just still find it a little odd that he was like allowed to do that. But I mean, that's neither here nor there. So let's continue on with the description. So again, this is the Saint Laurent Winter 2025 menswear, creative director Anthony Vessarello. He's highlighting the innate duality, contrast that defines the collection as counterintuitive elements inject surprising fluidity into concise tailoring. Okay, let's keep that in mind for this collection. Let's see if it upholds that. Surprising fluidity and concise tailoring. Let's see if that's upheld in this collection. So it's inspired by the classic wardrobe that was introduced by Yves Saint Laurent in his haute couture or vie gauche collections and by the spirit of Robert Mapplethorpe. I'm not aware of who that is, but I will definitely look into him. A menacing and seductive elegance informs both the silhouette as well as individual pieces. Okay, so again, we have some things to be on the lookout here for this collection: fluidity, concise tailoring, highlights of the silhouette, and many more. Throughout, unexpected pairings render the brand's signature ambiguity novel, evident in the way ample feather trimmed coats and sharp double breasted jackets shift in character. Okay. So again, we're looking out for feather trimmed coats, sharp double breasted jackets, and how they're accessorized with high waiter like leather boots. I'll be so real with you guys. I think again I have said this before and I'll probably say it again. I don't like when fashion houses put out a collection that looks like it was thrown together by a random generator and then they try to give a long ass explanation to why the collection means a certain thing or why it means this or why it means this. I feel like that's just very lazy. I think many of these houses know that at the end of the day they could literally put out naked people on the runway. People are still going to try to act like it's high fashion and they're still going to buy their stuff anyway. So I really feel like that's what it is right now. Like I call it fashion is in an emperor's new what the fuck was I trying to say? You know the story about the emperor's new clothes? Like you know that story? Or I guess if you don't know the story, the short of it is that it's an emperor, basically like a king, and he wants new clothes, he wants some new threads, wants some new fits, and he hates everything that's been shown to him, but then somebody comes and presents to him nothing, like literally. And the salesperson, quote unquote, is like, no, no, look at the threads. They're amazing. Look at this fit. Oh my god, you're steezing on them. But again, it's nothing. Like he's literally selling him nothing. He basically tries to claim it's invisible clothes. But then the emperor is so convinced that, oh yeah, like this shit is fire, like it's amazing. And so the guy gets away with an all-time level scam, and the emperor is walking around naked. So because he's the emperor, he's the king, nobody can tell him shit. His subjects have to be like, "Oh no, yeah, your new clothes are amazing. They're fire. This shit about to go crazy on Insta. Is fire." But again, he's wearing nothing. So it's a story that has a message about how people are sometimes forced to pALaCatE the crazy endeavors of other people just due to positions of power and authority. Like that's basically the story. So again, I say that like fashion is very much in an emperor's new clothes position because like the things that are being put out, it's lackluster, it's unbecoming of some of the houses, and yet people are still finding ways to act like it's hot shit. Now, I probably have no room to talk because I consider myself to be lower than a novice, but of course that will change. But it's just like, can you be serious? And that's not to say that YSL has been on that kind of tear, but maybe we'll see with this collection. Okay, let's get into it. This gig, as Alyssa Edwards would say. All right, let's go. I think in the videos I already put out, I talk about like set design and how, oh my god, first of all, let me big up myself. I think I have really cool ideas for set designs and I would definitely love to like see them played out in real life. Um, Although I do believe that many fashion runways have very like uninteresting set designs, or at least they don't really give it their all as they could and as they have the financial means to. But I think for this one so far, so far, I think for this one it's pretty nice. I like the fact that giant chandeliers is what's creating like the ambience, literally ambiance lighting. So I honestly think that's pretty good. Obviously, we have a bit of a circular runway that's about to happen here. At least it seems like. So I mean, I think set design. I think I'm gonna start doing set design ratings too. I would give this one like a 6.5 out of 10. But let's continue on the show.
If you are the dealer, I'm out of the game. If you are the healer, means I'm broken and lame. If thine is the glory, then mine must be the shame.
A deep ass voice.
You want to start?
A deep ass voice, bro. What the fuck? I wonder if I know for some houses they have the audio that was played in person also just added for the YouTube videos. So I wonder if this was actually played in person. I mean, it must have been, right? Or if it's just for YouTube. But I mean, let's see here. Let's just keep going.
We kill the flame.
I think just to go back a little bit here, you see the high waiters that was mentioned in the description. You obviously see. Oh, let me show you here. You see, the double breasted jacket and everything. I just feel like this is not really interesting. Like YSL, even when I was looking back at some of their former collections, even for women's wear, like they always have like a suit design. And I know suits are a very integral part of even Yves Saint Laurent and his fashion journey. So suits are like a very big part of the YSL house. But I just feel like he's done so much other stuff, and even the creative directors that have come after him have done so much stuff. So I don't understand why it's still just the same variation of suits all the time. Like I don't get that. But I guess let's continue.
There's a lover in the story, but the story's still the same. There's a lullaby for suffering and a paradox to blame. But it's written in the scriptures and it's not some idle claim. You want it darker? We kill the flame. They're lining up the prisoners in the guard.
Like, I'm not gonna say that these looks are bad or anything, because they're obviously not. Like, nobody hates a man in a suit. I mean, I do if it's a politician, but no, like nobody hates a man in a suit. It's not a bad look, but it's just like the same look over and over again. And I feel like there's so many discussions to be had about the evolution of men's fashion and how it feels kind of stagnated right now. But I just mean, again, like this look even here, the suit jacket, the high waiters are a bit questionable compared with it, but I mean that's a part of the collection, or that's one of the key notes of the collection. So again, like it's not a bad look. Again, especially with this oversized jacket here, it's not a bad look at all. But it's just like like anybody. And that's not shade to Anthony Vesarello. I hope I said his last name right. But it's just like anybody could put this together. Like you're paying people. Actually, let me not say what they're paying them or if I even know. But like these are prestigious fashion houses. People are put in the creative director position to really come in with a bang. And of course, again, people have their off day or off days. So I'm not going to be like every collection has to be 100 out of 100. But it just feels like honestly like this feels like we're watching the same collection over and over again year after year after year after year with so many different fashion houses, like honestly.
To take an aim. I struggled with some demons. They were middle class and tame. I didn't know I had permission to murder and to maim. You want
Also, like, are you hearing the voiceover, like that deep ass voice sounding like fucking Batman in Gotham? Like even that, I would understand if they're trying to go for some sort of like contrast, and they did mention that in the description, like a contrast. But like the voiceover just feels a bit out of place, very out of place. Like the vibe that they're going with, or that they're trying to go with, does not really match the voiceover. At least in my opinion, I feel like if they really wanted to have this almost like dangerous night edge to it, the clothes that the models are wearing should kind of match that. But it doesn't. Like realistically, I feel like this is more so high class life, night out dinner type thing. I hope that makes sense. I would probably have gone with something that was not necessarily a little more like bells and whistles, classical music, but I just think something that had a more like seductive edge to it. This voiceover feels like I'm about to be killed. So, like, I don't know. Everything kind of just feels a little out of place with each other, but I don't know.
Want it darker? If you are the dealer, let me out of the game. If you are the healer, I'm broken and lame.
Honestly, I kind of like this look here. Let me play it for you. Actually, kind of like this one. I'm not a fan of obviously the high waiters that came with it. I think again, this is still kind of like a typical classical style, but it definitely, in my opinion, stands out a bit from the rest of the collection. I think just mainly because of the color contrast, the brown jacket, the blue tie, the white collar shirt. I just think the rest of the ones that have been shown so far, it's just very like simple ish. Honestly, let me actually even play this a bit forward for you. For you or for me? Who knows? Sorry, let me focus. Do you see all three of those looks that were just in the frame? Let me go back here for you. This look here with the purple turtleneck. The next look, obviously, with an orange turtleneck. And the next look with this pattern jacket and a blue turtleneck. Now, again, this isn't groundbreaking, it's not jaw dropping, but I do think this is kind of what they should have made the entirety of the collection, or at least what we've seen so far. I feel like those typical classical styles, again, nothing wrong with them, nothing bad about it, it's just nothing new. But I feel like this collection, at least what's been shown so far, would have been a bit more interesting if they played around with the different patterns, with the contrast and styling. Like, again, go back here. This plaid brown jacket. Can you really call this plaid? Oh my god, the argumentations about whether or not you can call something plaid, gingham, or anything like that. It's a whole lot of. So let's not get into it right now. But yeah, like this, we'll just say plaid for the time being. This plaid jacket with orange turtleneck, this plaid jacket here with a yellow turtleneck. Like, I feel like these are interesting uses of color and patterns together, and all the outfits are thrown off by the high waiters. But I mean, I feel like if you had this full outfit together with matching similar plaid pants, or even boosting the look up with some semblance of accessories that all work in cohesion with each other, like it would have just made the looks a little bit more interesting. Like, again, these looks, like, it's YSL, they're trying to convey a certain lifestyle to you, but like look at the set. Look at the even YSL logo in the background. And then look at this outfit. Like again, I did say that I do like the contrast in the plaid and the orange turtleneck, but I don't know. It's just like, I don't know. Let's continue though. I will honestly say that this change in background music still, in my opinion, does not match with the entirety of the set or the collection. Like genuinely, like that turn into what feels like a soundtrack that belonged to a James Bond movie doesn't really match with what looks like to, let's just say, somebody who you would ask off the street. Doesn't really match with like these somewhat goofy outfits, quote unquote goofy. And I don't know, I just feel like so many of these things could come together a bit more. And like that's not to discredit the minds that put these things together, but I don't know, maybe it's from my more so Americanized perspective. I just feel like execution wise, it's not there. I think it's worth mentioning that there is obviously an appearance of the feather lined coats that were mentioned in the description. This look is not too bad. Like, it's really not too bad. Again, classic double breasted suit style. This feather lining, quote unquote, though, if correct me if I'm wrong, maybe this isn't even it. But again, like the execution, it's just not there, in my opinion. It's not. Now, even though I've been calling this collection kind of mediocre, I will say again, like it still suits. Like nobody hates a suit style. Be serious. I really like the overall execution of this. Very simple, very classic, very chic. It looks very nice. Very nice. Okay, here we see more of like that outward feather lined coat. Now I don't hate this look at all, and I'm pretty sure this look does not feature the high waiters, thankfully. Um, but I think this is definitely a better execution. I don't think it's like the best, like in general, but it's definitely one of the better executions within this collection. Those other ones, you could argue the not just practical application, but the fashionable application of them. To me, I wouldn't waste time on that. I would just say, it looks kind of iffy. But I definitely think how this one is styled together, how it's put together, is definitely a better execution of it. Again, you can see this is just like a straight up fur coat, or feather coat, fur or feather coat. Well, no, it's one or the it's one or the other. But you can tell it's just a straight up coat that's covered in that material. Again, I think it would have been much better if all the looks that had that just featured this kind of style. Like again here, you see this? Like I think this is a better execution of that. I'm gonna skip ahead here to see if there's like a final look that comes out. I don't think so, considering this is a men's collection. Yeah, I don't believe there to be that. Um, so that's basically the end of it. I think first I'm gonna say I would rate that collection a 7, and actually no, I'll give it an 8 out of 10. And even though I'm giving it that 8 out of 10, I will say that it's undeserved. But it's just because I feel like, again, this men's collection relies on not just the typical connection that YSL has with suits, but I think it also just relies on the fact that you literally cannot go wrong with suits. Again, most people like looking at a man in a suit. But even again, like I said, even though I gave it that rating, I'll still say it's a bit undeserved just because it just feels like nothing truly innovative was done. Not to say that every collection has to be groundbreaking and show stopping, but again, it just feels like really anybody could have put this together. Like it doesn't really feel like there was like it doesn't really feel like there was a legitimate fashion process in putting these things together. And of course, I'm not behind the scenes, so maybe I can't talk. Or yeah, obviously, you can't really say about what's going on behind the scenes. But it just feels like I feel like there's so many people out there, me included. Oh no, but there's so many people out there who genuinely have like amazing ideas that they really want to put forward on the runway that could truly shake up the landscape of fashion. And yet, from the major fashion houses that are supposed to be the ones doing that, we're just getting the same collection over and over and over again. Like, I don't know. I just think that's a bit iffy. But again, this is not a bad collection. It's not terrible. Um, like I said, 8 out of 10. Doesn't really deserve that 8 out of 10. I think I mentioned the looks that I liked the most. And I feel like even nowadays, when I'm watching some fashion shows, when I'm just like, when I don't necessarily like clothes, it's not because they're ugly or they look bad. It's just because it's like, how many times can we really see this? I also think I should just mention that again, as a part of their description of this collection, they talk about injecting fluidity and concise tailoring into obviously the outfits. I see the concise tailoring. Of course, it's suits. They're usually tailor made, all those kinds of things. But I just think that like fluidity part where they mention injecting fluidity into precise tailoring, it kind of just goes to show exactly what I'm saying, which is like fashion houses are just putting out anything and then they're expecting some sort of overt explanation and description to add legitimacy to what is like a lackluster collection, or at least something that's not its best work. And I just think that's like ridiculous. I'm not expecting, like Iris Van Herpen levels or Harpen. Hopefully I'm saying her name right. Like I'm not expecting something like that from YSL, but I just mean like like don't just like put something out and then you're trying to come up with like this Shakespearean level explanation as to why it's good. Like if it really was just good, if it really was like amazing, outstanding, then you'd be able to describe it as such. You know what I mean? Even if it does look good, it's still like, how many times can we really see this? You know what I mean? I feel like I don't have too much to say about this one, so I think I'll end it here. All right, bye now.